And the meeting is now live, Chair.
Thank you, Katie. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the SACRE meeting this evening. We have got a lot to do this evening. We need to a lot of cover. Our agenda is really full. I just wanted to welcome all of you, and I just wanted to welcome two new members in SACRE, Megan and Fatima. And welcome to you on SACRE meeting. This is your first meeting, and I hope you will enjoy the meeting and we will get the benefit from your experience and expertise. So can I just start the apologies for absence, please, Katie?
Thank you, Chair. So we have received apologies from Laurie Greenglass, David Milliken, Teresa Byrne, Glenn Birchall, and Councillor Ball has emailed just to let us know that he's currently in another meeting and he will join us shortly once he's finished.
Right. Is there any other apologies member have for someone? No. Thank you, Katie. In terms of any declaration of interest, I could consider none. Any matters to be considered in private, if you have any? No. Right. Can we just agree with the minute from the last meeting? Any issue, or are we agreed with the minute from the last meeting? Kausamida?
Yes, it's fine. I agree, yeah.
Okay.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you. Some matter has been agreed. So there was a one follow-up action. There was a annual report for SACRE 2019-20, which is I think, Leslie, are you covering now, or will you be covered later on? Because we have got determination as well. So the two schools have applied for determination, and I'm sure you will introduce that item and see how things goes on that. So up to you, Leslie.
Yeah, the annual report we discussed at the last meeting had to be sent on to various bodies, including to be posted on the Ealing Grid for Learning, on the National Association of SACRE's website, and to the Department for Education. And I understand that Angela has kindly put that into action, and it's all been successfully accomplished.
It will be actioned. It hasn't been yet.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Chair, would you like me then to just briefly introduce the determinations?
Please, yeah, determination of two schools, yeah,
So,
thank you.
We're very pleased, I think, to welcome representatives of the two schools tonight who are submitting applications for a renewal of their determinations. For those of you who've forgotten what a determination is, or if you're new to SACRE, it is a legal requirement for all schools to provide a daily act of what is called collective worship, and the majority of those in most schools should be wholly or mainly of a broadly Christian character. That isn't always suitable for every school, so the law allows schools where the population is appropriate for this to opt out of the broadly Christian requirement. So these schools are still required to offer a daily act of collective worship for all pupils, but they are more able to reflect the diverse populations of their school and the materials that they use as a focus for reflection in that context. So we have applications tonight from Lady Margaret Primary School and also Featherston Primary School. A third school, Stanhope Primary, has deferred its application until the summer term, and under current Department for Education advice, that is possible, acknowledging the many challenges which schools are facing at this time, not least in light of last night's Prime Ministerial announcement. So we will, I hope, be receiving an application from Stanhope Primary in the summer. And so particular thanks go to the two schools who are submitting tonight for getting together all the paperwork for this and making all the necessary arrangements in the challenging circumstances in which they find themselves at the moment. What happens is, I think you've all seen or will have seen the determination documentation from these two schools, but because we have people present from them, we're going to ask each one to just talk very briefly about provision for worship in their schools. And I hope then SACRE members will be able to congratulate those schools on what they consider to be elements of good practice, and also ask any questions if they require further clarification. We're also going to have feedback from the SACRE members that visited those schools. I think those were virtual visits rather than in-person ones on this occasion for obvious reasons. When we've heard from all of those people in turn, beginning with Lady Margaret and then moving on to Featherston, the people who are visiting from those schools are able to leave the meeting, and then as members you make a decision about whether or not to grant those determinations for a further period of 5 years. I hope you will remember that it's not one vote per member of the SACRE, but one vote for each of the 4 groups on the SACRE. So it might be a little difficult to manage that without the breakout room facility, but I'm sure we'll be able to do that. And then when the decision is taken this evening, the schools will receive written confirmation of that decision in due course. So I hope that's clear. First of all, can we ask Helen Rye? I hope I pronounced that correctly, Helen, and Tracy Byrne, who I can see both of you on the screen, or your names at least, who are both from Lady Margaret School, just to tell us a little about why they're applying for a determination and give us a flavour of worship in your school. And then Marianne Eisen will talk about her discussions and experiences with the school as the SACRE member who visited. So thank you, Helen and Tracy.
Okay, so as you did pronounce my name correctly, it's Helen Rye. I'm the head teacher at Lady Margaret, and I have Tracy Byrne is the assistant head teacher who is responsible for the pastoral care of the pupils in our school. So she must take the credit for the majority of the work in gathering together the materials for this application. So I would like to start just very briefly by talking about our reason for application, and then Tracy is going to just give some examples of the work that we do at Lady Margaret. So I hope that will be sufficient. So we serve a culturally diverse population with children who follow different religions. As a school, we celebrate this diversity through a rich and varied assembly programme. Which focuses on themes and concepts which cross over a range of cultures and religions. We follow the Ealing recommended RE syllabus, and this is taught weekly. We are a very inclusive school and have created a school thought which is read in assemblies as a reflection point and is aligned with our core values, which are about learning, motivation, progress and success. And alongside these values, we have 4 key themes which permeate our curriculum: legacy, morality, power, and sustainability. And these are being embedded into our curriculum, but we would say there's further work to do on that because it was halted somewhat with the pandemic. Our curriculum is designed around high quality texts, which are chosen carefully to reflect our diverse community. And we feel that this work is more appropriate to meet the needs of the community than a worship which is mainly of a Christian nature. That's why we're applying to continue our determination to modify this collective reflection, which incorporates a range of religious beliefs, including, but not exclusively, those of the religious practice followed by the children we serve. We promote British values and we ensure that all children know the expectations of being a good British citizen. We are a gold rights respecting school and we encourage children to think critically and reflect on their learning. So I'm just going to hand over now to Tracy Byrne, who is going to talk about the collective worship during lockdown and also some of the examples of the high quality work that happens in the normal working day. Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Helen. Assemblies are designed around our curriculum themes. They are well planned and linked to the school themes and the new Ealing PHSE curriculum. Daily reflection opportunities are embedded into the assembly plans. When there is a significant event, perhaps a religious festival, comic relief, landing on Mars, we incorporate additional reflection time. Children are given time to talk daily around the weekly assembly themes. We have weekly circle time in school and online. This has been really important during lockdown. It's really important for our children's mental health. Mental health, our theme this year has been to express yourselves. Lots of work has been done around this throughout the academic year and throughout lockdown. Mental Health Week, Anti-Bullying Week, we encourage children to reflect on how they are feeling, how others are feeling, and also across the wider world. We encourage daily reflection. We celebrate key religious festivals, and we are filming these and share these across the school. And children are encouraged to reflect on what they have watched, ask questions. So our faith assemblies, even though we're in lockdown and we can't all be in the same room, we're still bringing our whole community together. We have reflected on our religious education while we've had our key worker children in school, and we created a video showing children's reflections and pupil voice around religious education, assemblies, and rights respecting. And this is going to be added to our website. Religious education, we do lots of high quality work, and reflections are recorded in floor books. These record lessons are discussions around RE linked to the lessons, so our key questions, and we have linked our school themes to our RE key questions. And these are an excellent record. We can go back and see what discussions we have had. We also have PHSE floor books, and these are used to encourage the reflections of our children, and these are linked to the weekly assembly themes. Children are encouraged to ask questions and also to propose ideas for our assemblies. The weekly theme is linked to rights respecting articles. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think now we're going to, with the chair's permission, ask Marianne Eisen, who was the SACRE member who visited the school, to just share her reflections. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. I had a meeting with Helen and Tracy. We had a Zoom meeting for 40 minutes. And everything I was told, I was really impressed with. From the point of view of the determination, it was interesting that whereas about 10% of the school roll, so 50 or 60 children, were actually in school each day, because of the way that online teaching was organised, every child still had access to reflection every day. So there were 3 online teaching periods for each day. And because different age groups had their teaching time at different times, every child had access to a reflection period every day, which I think was a triumph of organisation. As Helen and Tracy explained, there's an assembly each Monday, a circle time each Friday, which involved reflection, guided reflection. On the other days, there's a reflection related to the thought or the theme or PSHE or world events, as Tracy just explained. With these new school themes that Tracy also talked about, they're linked into the reflection periods, and that also is linked into the RE. So for example, there was an RE tree planting project inspired by this theme of sustainability, which was arose out of a study of Sikhism. So a lot of cross-curricular thought going on there. Of course, schools can't do any visiting to places of worship at the moment, but Lady Margaret is organising online visits. So there was a visitor to Year 4, for example, as part of the work on Christianity. Another thing that was interesting was that there was a parental, sorry? A parental...
Carry on, someone's mic is on.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Although, of course, there was the parental consultation letter, there was no formal response to that parental consultation letter, although I gather informal conversations showed very strong support for proceeding with the determination. I think the school has done remarkably well in affirming the pupils' achievements in spite of children not being in school, celebrating their good work online, sending them postcards, which I think is a lovely idea, and house prizes and stickers and so on. And school morale remains very high. The paperwork was all complete, comprehensive, and on the basis of all this, I do recommend that the determination be renewed.
Thank you, Helen and Tracy, for sharing a snapshot, or a detailed snapshot of the very rich work that's going on in your school, and to Marianne for affirming all of those things and for liaising with you on behalf of the SACRE. So I think now, if you would like to do so, Helen and Tracy, you may leave the meeting, and we thank you so much for your work. I think schools that don't ever apply for determinations don't realize, you know, what it is to put yourself under the spotlight in this way. And the fact that you and our other school here today have done so at such a challenging time, as I said before, I think is hugely to your credit. So that's much appreciated. So thank you
very much. It's a pleasure.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So now we move to Featherston Primary. So I don't think we have the head teacher here. I understand that he was not sure if he would be able to attend, but I believe we have Sabina Kurana.
That's right, it's me.
Responsible for RE and collective worship in the school. So you've got a lot to handle, Sabina. So like Helen and Tracy, if you could just give us an overview, and then Oliver is our SACRE member who has been in touch with you, so it'll then be over to him. So thank you again for being here, Sabina, after what I'm sure has been a busy day.
Thank you. I lead collective worship, but I work very, very closely with the RE team. We serve about 700 plus children, with 45% of Sikh, 31% of Muslim, 12% of Hindu, 11% Christianity, and now just recently we've got a humanist who's joined our school just about a couple of weeks ago, which is quite new to us as well. Again, just like the other school, we work on theme basis, but the biggest thing which makes us quite rich is we do cover all the religion, but the main theme is spirituality. So if I give you a little snapshot how we do our collective worship, and then I can talk a little bit more about RE. We start our day realizing what we were in. So we've linked our mindfulness and we've linked our collective worship together. So when the children start their school, we start with a little calming music, and children start with a mindfulness activity. Then we've got the theme of the week, or the British value. We talk about that. Then there would be a little quote or a saying from different faith, like a Buddhist faith, or it could be just a spiritual word. And we'll give children an opportunity to talk about that with the teacher. Because in Featherston, we believe in spirituality, every child is at a different level, every adult. And some children could be more spiritually aware than an adult could be. And then we will give them time to reflect with a little wording led by on Monday, Thursday, and Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday led by the class teacher, and Tuesday and Friday in the whole school assembly. We do give them opportunity when we are reflecting because in spirituality there's no right and wrong, and what is their understanding. And we always give them opportunity to reflect in a book, to ask questions, and to further develop their understanding. We also give them critical thinking opportunity where they can ask each other questions and then go and research and develop their understanding. When there is a religious celebration, the whole week and collective worship is around the religious celebration. So there will be some words from the religion. We'll talk about the theme, and then there will be in the morning, we will have a collective worship, a little bit of reflection, but we'll reflect in the evening or in the afternoon as well. As we went into obviously virtual teaching, we took our children's need was more mindfulness. So we took the road of mindfulness, and we gave them opportunity to reflect. We then worked on we help children to manage their anxiety, and then we have a wow and worry box, which is virtually live, and children can post their reflection, their worries, or anything to the teacher, and once a day the teacher then addresses that. While there are about 45 children, key workers children, who are still coming to school every day, and again we've been giving collective worship take place first thing in the morning. Our collective worship is closely linked with RE, with PHSC, even with English. When we do the book week, we don't just talk about collective worship as simply, then we talk about the holy book, the respect of the book, the importance of book overall. For example, in Hinduism, where books are treated like God, the importance of all that. So it's interlinked throughout every subject where possible. They have their own reflection book and their own thought books, where the children can, if they are feeling anxious and they want to put their thoughts down anywhere or anything, they have their books where they go and write their own reflection on thought process. And if they are worried and they want to share it with the teacher, they leave it on the desk, and then we then get an opportunity to read it, and only if they want to. We do give them opportunity to plan their own, like if we call it prayer or their thought process, and then once a week, they then share it with the class as well. And we also follow the RE curriculum, the Ealing scheme of work, and we do have weekly RE lesson, and every lesson ends with a reflection in RE and PSHE. And our British value is linked. We have a theme every week, and we talk about British value throughout the week. during reflection, during RE, during PSHE. I hope I've summed it all up.
Thank you, Sabina. That was very comprehensive and interesting. And like the previous school, this very important focus on mindfulness. It seems that collective worship, which has been in abeyance in schools in some parts of the country, is really, coming into its own again at a time when people need those moments for reflection. Oliver, would you like to just share your impressions as the SACRE member who was in touch with the school?
Indeed, yes. Yes, Sabina and I had a Zoom meeting, very interesting, a very lengthy meeting that we went through everything. I think it's important to note that Featherston is in a significantly socially deprived and challenging area of Ealing. And I think the school has made a huge effort to support their pupils, particularly in this extremely difficult time when they're suffering all sorts of problems with, I guess, with everything in life, from eating to trying to study to trying to feel secure in a world that doesn't really feel very secure at all. Now, I think they've drawn on their obviously considerable experience in doing a broader form of collective worship stroke reflection, as we call it, because this is a renewal of determination rather than the first one. And I got the feeling from Sabina that their focus is very much upon drawing the children together and avoiding opportunities for division, so that everything is based around drawing the commonalities out of the various religious and non-religious belief traditions that the children come from. So it helps the children, I believe from the material that I've seen, certainly, it helps them derive common lessons and common themes and common strands of morality. So they feel very much together, despite the fact that they come from a very wide set of different religious beliefs, Sikhs and Muslims and Hindus, as well as the 11% of Christians, which is obviously why they're applying for a renewal of their determination. Looking through the paperwork and everything, I was quite satisfied that they have indeed got a very good structure for giving children a daily opportunity for reflection and collective worship, with 3 days out of the week with the teacher leading it, which is, I think, quite good in terms of not just doing it through assemblies, which can be quite challenging, I think. Their sources that they were using, which Sabina's been through already, so I won't go through it, but she left out their own school's core values, which are caring, ambition, respect, and empathy, which I noted from the examples were woven through the things that they do. I was particularly struck again by this mindfulness thing. I mean, it's quite clear that children at this particular time have a very strong need to have a moment where they can try to let go of the tensions that they must all be feeling at the moment. And I think the school is doing a great job in trying to help them relax a bit and feel a little bit more cared for in this very strange times that we're living. I was interested, so we didn't mention it this time, but she talking about sort of drawing on different faiths and multidisciplinary. She mentioned there's something they sometimes do called the Festival of Lights, which takes place near Christmas, and manages to bring in not just the Nativity, but Hanukkah and Diwali at the same time. So again, drawing on the commonalities of what it is that people are celebrating around this time of year. So, and she has mentioned they've just got a humanist family turn up. So she said, along with that and the new syllabus that has recently come out, she thinks they'll be paying slightly more attention to that as well, which obviously I'm very pleased about. Anyway, so I feel in conclusion that all the material is there. I think they're doing a splendid job, and I would definitely suggest that their determination be renewed. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver, and thank you again, Sabina, and your colleagues at school for gathering together all the information and talking so eloquently about what's going on in your school. So unless anyone has any particular questions for Sabina, then she is free to go, and we then move into the voting process. So I don't know if anyone would like to say anything. I can't see anyone. Okay, thank you then, Sabina. You're free to go. It's lovely to meet you, even if only online.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye.
Can I say something?
Yes, Councillor Mida.
I want to say about Arvina. She explained really very nice. They are working very hard in the school. I appreciate. Good luck to them.
Thank you, Councillor Mida. Thank you very much.
So we have had an opportunity to look at the documentation. We've had an opportunity to hear a little more from both schools of the flavour of what's being offered, and we've heard ringing endorsements for both schools from our SACRE members who have visited them online and spoken at greater length with them about their provision. So does anyone have any further questions before we move to a vote? Yes, is it Bajindapal Lal?
Yes, there is one.
Councillor Mahmood, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Ms. Lal, we can.
Yeah, no, I agree. Both schools came across very well with the themes that they're doing. Just a question really to both our members that visited. Both schools are defining that they use reflection as a key part, but both schools also talked very much about critical thinking. And I'm intrigued to try and understand how that critical thinking is embedded or integrated in those activities, because there didn't seem anything quite explicit in the reports that the schools presented of how that is enacted.
Oliver or Marion?
May I say something?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're not there to inspect their critical thinking. We're just there to ensure that they have these daily acts of reflection and so on. So I think we just accept their professional expertise, if you like, that they are teaching children the skills of critical thinking and embedding them as they see fit into their programme. Oliver, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Well, I would say that from what I've seen, the critical thinking is probably more individually led from the pupils rather than directed, as it were, from the teachers. They leave the children to try and draw what lessons and what thoughts they can from the period of reflection, and the children then feed them back either immediately or sometimes in written form back to the teachers. And I think that's the way they do it. They don't really, they certainly don't pressurize the children. They kind of present the material, as it were, and sometimes the children present the material, but mainly it's the teacher, and they leave the children to try and sort of sort it through at their own speed. And as I think has been said by both of the teachers, children work at very different speeds, and therefore some will take longer and some will be a lot quicker at it.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. That's really good to hear.
Thank you for asking and clarification, Ms. Lal. Yes, Leslie.
I just wanted to say that I think both schools were very careful to indicate how creatively they link collective worship with the wider life of the school, particularly RE, where the critical thinking might be more of an element of a taught lesson, and also PSHE and other aspects of school life. Clearly, the determination relates only to collective worship, not to RE, but it's very valuable, I think, for SACRE members to hear how there's a holistic approach in both schools, which, as we've recognised, particularly this time, is of ever more importance than even in the past. So that's something I would reiterate.
Thank you, Leslie. Yeah.
So
are we going to the vote? Yeah.
yeah. So as I explained, where the vote's concerned, it's one vote per group. So we will begin, I think, with Group A. So that is the group of people representing different religious traditions, including Christian religious traditions other than the Church of England. So if you are in Group A, can you put up a physical hand if you've got your camera on, or use the reactions button to indicate whether or not you are in support?
Yes, I think we have got a full support, in my opinion. We got the lots of thumb up and raise the hand.
Thank you. Is there anyone in Group A who is voting against? No, and no one in Group A abstaining. Okay, so now we move then to Group B. This is for both schools, of course. Sorry, we're taking them both at the same time. I hope that's all right. Group B, so Church of England representatives, are you in favour of granting both schools renewals? Thank you. That's Mark and Mark. And I don't think there's anyone else in your group present today. Thank you. So Group C is the teachers group. So again, for both schools, and if anyone's got any discrepancies, of course, please indicate that. But if you're a teacher member on Group C and you're happy, would you raise your hand?
Yeah.
Emma, are you the only teacher representative here?
No, Elizabeth Day is there as well.
Oh, Elizabeth, sorry.
Yeah.
I've been looking at this screen all day and I think I'm slightly spooked now. Yeah, so that's unanimous. I think there's no one voting against on Group C. And Group D, the local councillors group and their representatives. If you're in favour for both schools, please raise your hand.
Councillor Mahinder Midha is in the favour.
Good.
Yeah, Councillor, yeah. You're all in favour. I could see all the hands, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone against?
No, I can't see anyone, Leslie.
No, Councillor Rooney, your hand is still up, but is that a mistake rather than?
Oh yes, sorry, apologies.
Yeah, that's all right. And everyone is content then, just to clarify that both schools get unanimous support for the
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So
Yeah,
then,
thank you.
that means that SACRE will need to write to both of those schools. I think we have a standard letter, but it would be really wonderful if some of the comments that have been made and presumably minuted could just one or two of those could be added to those letters, simply to personalize them and commend the schools for what they're doing well. That would be appropriate, I think.
Thank you, Leslie. So if you have covered that item, and now we have approved to renewal of Lady Margaret Primary School and Featherstone Primary School collective determination. So now we are considering item 7 now. This is collective worship guidance, and Leslie and Angela will cover that. Where we are at, Leslie?
Yeah. After the agreement of the new syllabus, it seemed as if there might be an opportunity for the SACRE to look at other ways in which to support schools. And the first thing that we did, as you may well remember, is look through the existing documentation that SACRE has available at various places on the Ealing website to offer assistance to schools in relation to RE, collective worship, and also matters where there's an interface between religion and religious practice and the life of the school. And we highlighted collective worship as our first area of focus, and a small working party was formed. And I was very pleased to be part of that, along with Marianne and Oliver and Elizabeth. We looked at the existing guidance, which Nora Leonard had produced when she was working for Ealing, and that has been reorganized and updated after discussions amongst the group members. Marianne has completed the drafting of that document, and we've had subsequent meetings to just, revisit certain issues, discuss them, and make any other changes or adaptations that we felt were necessary. We've really tried, I think, to streamline that document to make it more user-friendly for schools without compromising the integrity of what it is saying. And I think, schools like the ones we've just seen are clearly focusing on collective worship, but we realise that there's a need for schools that don't apply for determinations, as well as those that do, to have support in this area, which is often neglected in initial teacher training and continuing professional development. So you have what is almost the finished document in your agenda packs. We have had a meeting since that went out to just tidy up one or two smaller errors in the way things were set out in the document, and also just to make sure that the language used is consistent throughout. But the changes that have taken place on the draft that you have are actually really cosmetic. And finally, I think we would all want to say huge thanks to Mirella, who took a Word document and transferred it into a thing of beauty, making it much more user-friendly for schools. So I'm sure we're all really appreciative of Mirella's talents in that direction, particularly if, like me, you don't possess them yourself. So we commend that document to you, and we're happy, all of us, I think, to take any brief questions that you might have about it, or any other changes or additions that you think need to be made. But as I say, it has gone through the working party of Oliver and Marianne and Liz, who are all hugely experienced in this area, and a large chunk of the document is the material that we have already created around determinations and the process for that. So that's already been agreed by the SACRE previously. So I don't know if any of the other people in the group want to add anything to what I've said, or whether we can move directly to any questions or comments. I suppose what we're looking for is for SACRE to say that it's happy with this document, and if so, then it can be reissued to schools.
Can I ask one question, Councillor Midda?
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, Chair, when the situation is better, is it possible we can visit to the school with the prayer time? I wish to.
Right. Yes, of course. I think that there is a clear possibility, Councillor Midda, and we could make it possible.
Thank you.
Is there any, Leslie, in your group, is it Elizabeth or anyone else could add something, or? Okay, all right.
Well, Chair, I've tried to put my hand up there mechanically, not sure what's happened. I'd just like to say that we did consider, and Leslie provided us with lots of alternatives to the Ealing document that we actually started with from lots of other councils, and we did draw ideas from them. But I think we, the three of us, certainly felt that we were very keen to stick as close as we could to the spirit of the document that Nora had created, and that really is also reflected in every single teacher and headmistress and headmaster that I've encountered in visiting schools. They very, very much appreciate the spirit of the document that Nora created. And so we tried to stay faithful to the spirit of it, but to update it, modernize it, and indeed slim it down a little bit and make it a little bit easier to digest. Thank you.
Right.
I have a comment, if that's possible, Kim.
Yes, Kim, please go on.
Just to say, I really thought it was a very good document. It was very clear, it was comprehensive, and it is really user-friendly. I thought it was presented in a very good way. So well done to the team. I thought it was a very good document.
Thank you, Kim. Any other question or clarification? If not, I, on the behalf of all the members, Leslie, I would like to say thank you so much for you and your team for all the hard work and modifying that the guidance, and especially thanks to Mirala, and I think she's really working hard, and I really admire his enthusiasm and all of her work. So if there is no other question, so can Angela, could you please update something about the guidance as well?
Hi, good evening, Chair. I'm moving on to the next part of this one, which is about the determination schedule, just to update on that part of it.
Okay, yeah.
If that's okay. So it's just really to let people know which determinations we have coming up for the summer. So as we noted earlier, Stanhope Primary School has deferred and they are going to be presenting in the summer term. And then we have Three Bridges, Clifton Primary School, and Durdens Park Primary School, who are all due to present their determinations in the summer. So that's going to be quite a busy meeting. And they have had an initial letter just outlining that. I think, and Leslie will confirm this, that I'm not sure where the DFE is in terms of allowing any sort of leeway, but I think we probably would all agree that we would take into account the circumstances of different schools in terms of how ready they are. But so we will feedback if there is any delay with those.
I have another meeting with the DFE official about this next week, so I will ask him. But when I've spoken to him before, I think he was saying that it was appropriate to give schools a certain period of grace, but I think by the summer the assumption will probably be that schools will be back to some sort of normality, and therefore they really should perhaps be prepared to pick this up. But as you say, Angela, I think we always need to be mindful of the situations that individual schools are facing and take that into careful consideration.
Yeah.
Just to say that if a school's determination renewal is delayed, when it is renewed, it would be backdated to the time when it should have been renewed. So they still only get a further 5 years. If they're supposed to renew in the summer and they don't renew until the autumn, they don't get that extra term. Does that make sense?
Okay, so that might need to be taken into account on the schedule then too. Yeah. Okay, and then the only other thing was a document which in fact we have used in practice, and Oliver and Marion did that with the online visits to schools. And again, with the summer term determinations, it may well be that schools are accepting visitors more, but I think there still is going to be a lot of caution about mixing and that sort of thing going forward. So it may well be that we continue with the online approach. And I'd like to say thank you to Oliver and Marianne for taking part in those meetings, and for the schools actually to adapting to them, because it seems to have worked particularly well. I think everybody's getting to be a bit of an expert at using this technology in the best way. I think we've got a couple of questions, Chair.
Yeah, it's Lakshman.
Oh, hi, thanks. I just wanted, I know we've been skipping about from the collective worship document to determination. I just wanted to go back and comment on the collective worship, if you don't mind, Chair.
Yes, please go on.
By the way, thank you for that document. It's much, the content is just as good as before, and it's much more readable. And thanks for taking note of some of my comments that I made earlier last time. Much appreciated. I did notice that there was a section there where you were waiting for someone to let you know what the Buddhist festivals were. So what shall I do? Shall I email what I think it might you might need there? Because it's a little difficult because there are three traditions.
I think there are three
and lots of different.
aren't there, missing?
Page 10.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
So I'll email my suggestions without making it too lengthy. If that's okay, or do you want to know now?
No, I think if you can add it, send it to us, then it can be added. And which were the other two traditions, Angela? Did you have the document?
Yeah, I've got it with me now. It is, yeah, sorry, that was a point, wasn't it, that we needed them
Yeah,
to be
I'm
added.
sorry, that was my fault too.
I can send you the details of all three traditions, and then you can.
Right,
you can
it's
pick
Buddhist,
the best word.
it's Buddhist, Muslim, and Hindu. So the context of this was about seasonal festivals, and so it was just to include some different examples. So there was certain ones included for other religions, but no. So we need a Muslim festival and a Hindu festival to be included if members can help with those.
Yeah. And I also had a comment on page 11 about the focusing on the breathing, and I will email that comment on it, just to focus on the breath rather than control on the breath. It's a little nuanced and technical, so I will email that. But thank you for your efforts. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Lakshman. So, Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, it's just on the schedule of determinations. I mean, I see there are a couple of schools that had expired determinations, and I suspect there probably are quite a lot more schools that should have determinations but haven't at the moment. So, what are we doing to try to make sure that each school that needs a determination is applying for them?
I think one of the things that we can do with the new collective worship guidance, because as Leslie said, it includes the determination information inside that document as well. So if we send that out to schools through the gatekeeping process and promote, with a kind of information about promoting the fact that it could be used more widely across schools in Ealing, then that would be an obvious way. The couple of schools that haven't renewed have been reminded on numerous occasions, so I think that they've sort of voted with their feet in a way, but it's something that we can certainly promote through sending out this guidance, and that will also raise the profile of SACRE as well with the schools and the ones that are not currently participating in that.
Thank you, Angela. Marion.
Thank you. Can I just go back to Lakshman's generous offer of helping us on page 10 with examples from the Buddhist, Muslim and Hindu traditions? If you look at what's there, you'll see that we've mentioned a festival and tried to integrate it into how the sort of the context. And I wonder if you could be able to phrase examples from those three traditions in the same way.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thanks. Is there any other clarification or question? No. Right. So, Angela, could you cover determination visit as well?
Yeah, I think I've done that. Oh, the only other thing I'd like to say with that is that we do have Marianne and Oliver have done a lot of the visits, the sort of physical and the new ones, and we've got these 4 determinations potentially coming up. So if any other members would be happy to do the online meeting with the school, if you could let us know that, because I think it's quite good to share the workload. And I think, as you can tell from the feedback, I think it's a very kind of enriching experience to have that kind of one-to-one discussion with the school as well. So anybody else who's willing to participate in that, we'd be very grateful. And I'm sure Marion and Oliver would give a few tips on how to make it a successful visit as well. And there may be other members who've conducted them in the past as well.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oliver. Yeah.
Just following on from what Angela said, I'm sure it would be possible for two of us to do it at the same time. If anyone's feeling slightly nervous about stepping directly into this, I'm sure we could ride shotgun, as it were, and so that you can get some experience in doing it without feeling it's all your responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Right, so if there is no other question, so can we move to item 8? Item 8 is, as you know, that this is agreed syllabus for 2020 and 2025. So who is going to update that, Angela?
I think it's Morella. I think she might be
Alright.
having a few problems with her computer.
Morella?
Are you there, Morella?
No. Katie, is Morella on the meeting?
Yes, so I can see that she's here, Chair, and she said that she can hear everything, but it just won't allow her to speak. That's all. I don't think her microphone and camera are working.
Okay, Angela.
Shall I just do a very quick? Well, I mean, there is a presentation in your pack. Oh, is Morella there now? You can't speak. No. Okay. I don't know whether it's worth just trying.
Yeah,
Oh, you're here.
Right.
Can you hear me, Angela?
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well, Morella. Thanks for joining again.
Do you want me to put up the presentation, Morella? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Gosh. I just put the presentation.
Oh, you've got it. You've done it now. That's fine.
So sorry.
No problem.
I'm trying to, it's doing so many things at the same time, and that's why. Okay,
No
I'm
problem.
just
Take
going
it
to go
easy,
into more. Can you just let me know if you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah? Can you see it?
Oh, no.
No, okay, let me just try again. Sorry about that.
Should I try and show it, Morella?
No, it let me.
Shall I attempt to do it, Morella?
Can am I through, please?
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see. Can you see it, Morella?
I can see it. Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Here we go. So,
Disappearing. Sorry. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I can see it now. Okay, basically what I wanted to do, I just wanted to give you a very quick update on what has been happening so far with the curriculum and what support has been provided and will be provided to schools and where we're going next, basically moving forward with this. Next slide, please, Angela. So far, we have done quite a lot of work in terms of the curriculum with different ways, like network meetings. We've done lots of support in terms of sending guidance and things like that. I must say that the COVID situation and the school closure has brought a lot of difficulties. However, schools are very determined to continue with the curriculum, the implementation of the curriculum, and basically at the moment, from the information we got, is that many schools have an RE coordinator. I was not quite sure at the start of the year whether each school had an RE coordinator, but many schools have an RE coordinator. This is actually a very good starting point, because these are the people that we expect to take our messages to deliver what we want to do in schools. Many schools have started using the curriculum, but will be on different steps. Different schools started, some schools started in September, some schools have started now, but it shows that they are determined to get things right and they're working on it. There are schools, as far as I know, that they are developing their lesson plans, and we will talk about this in a minute as well, what's happening. The support has been provided by help advisor. Leslie as well has been supporting with different queries, because obviously I'm not a RE specialist, but when I'm stuck, Leslie comes always in to help. And what I've noticed as well within all this implementation period is that the schools have started to work closely with each other as well, and the school support has been a spirit that I've noticed as well. So schools are very happy to share good practice, and this has been seen during the meetings that I have had with the schools, but also through emails that people produce something and they're happy to share it. Also, during the autumn term, I shared some home learning resources developed by the NATA, and they have been received very well. Next slide, please, Angela. We put a survey out this week, and the response has been overwhelming, because we know sometimes at difficult times like this, people do not respond very well. But we wanted to get an idea, a view of what the schools have been doing with the RE curriculum, because we know that the secondary schools feel more confident because they've got the RE specialists in their schools. But we wanted to know what the primary schools are doing. And you will see on the left of this screen that those are the questions we put out. We had 24 responses out of the 57 primary schools that are on non-religious based, and so far about 15 schools said that they have started using the new curriculum from autumn term, from September. We had 3 schools that they've started using the new curriculum now in January, and we've got schools that they have planned to start with the new curriculum in the summer 21 and some in autumn 21. And if we move on to the next slide, I will show you also what we have shared with schools, a timeline when we expect the schools to have kind of implemented the curriculum fully. So you will see on the screen the implementation phases. And as you know yourselves, in the autumn 2020, E-Link RE syllabus was agreed. And we started kind of sharing that with schools, even though they had the draft before, so they knew well in advance what was coming up in the new curriculum. So the transition phase began, because we said to the schools, they were a little bit worried about the expectation of implementation of the curriculum. So we said to the schools, there will be a transition phase where they will have to still use their curriculum, old curriculum, and moving into the new curriculum. So in the autumn term, as I said earlier on, some schools started already using the new curriculum, but there were schools that they still continued with the old curriculum, 2014 curriculum. In the meantime, we had schools involved in the RE network, which was helpful, because in that sense they would discuss, about what the ways they're going forward with this. Then from spring term, schools, obviously, what we expected from schools is that to get more familiar about the RE syllabus and conducting probably some of the lessons, like piloting some of the lessons that they were on the themes that they were already in the curriculum. And then probably do a CPD audit with the staff to see where the CPD needs were for the staff, because we know that, especially in primary, the teachers are not qualified for RE, so therefore there is a need for CPD within the schools and at local authority level. By summer 2021, we still hope that the implementation phase will continue with more lessons and resources being developed, as well as the delivery of the new RE curriculum. And also we hope to provide CPD and monitor again what's happening. By autumn 2021, the expectation is that schools will still continue with the new RE curriculum, and we will still continue with the monitoring and the support through the RE networks. And in a year's time, as of now, we would have expected that schools would have delivered the curriculum by spring 2022. And in that case, a year from now, we will be able also to say, you know, how the implementation will go, because the monitoring will continue. Next slide, Angela, please. What in meantime, to support schools, we've developed a guide on the implementation. And the guide, you will see it, you see it on the screen now. The guide contains 3 chapters, if you like. One is in the implementation strategies that we've given the schools, also leadership resources, because obviously this guide is aimed at the leadership level. So when they see it, you know, they will have step-by-step guides, you know, for how that they can implement the curriculum. They will have also within this guidance, they've got also teaching and learning resources. And if we move on to the next slide, you will see some examples of what's included in this guidance. For example, one of the things that I wanted to clarify with people is to use the common sense that they normally use with every curriculum area, that there will be a step-by-step implementation, which you can see it in colors there in steps. And within each step, for example, I've provided support or ideas how they can do it. For example, identifying what they already have in place, you know, what do they do with that, how they use it to the best, you know, for the new curriculum and so on. And on the right side of the screen, you will see also a planning process, a diagram, which shows some of the steps that they can take when they plan lessons, because obviously they're not qualified to do lesson plans, but they have very good, on RE, I mean, but they have got very good experience with other curriculum areas. So obviously all those skills will be transferred. And then if we move on to the next slide, a section will some sections of this guidance include things like on the leadership, for example, audits, and you can see on the right side, you can see in a CPD audit, for example that I've provided to the schools, lots of tools like that, especially for monitoring of the RE curriculum in the school, for planning the RE curriculum in the school, calendar of how they can develop their implementation steps and so on. And then another section is involves curriculum resources. You can see some of them in the screen on the screen. Now, the very one of the things that is being talked very recently with all the areas of the curriculum is about curriculum maps or knowledge maps, and you can see 2 examples I've put in there, which are easily accessible. And what the curriculum maps do is they give a very brief summary, for example, let's say about Islam or about special people. They give keywords, they give key questions, and they give some links of what the children can learn. And these are very good, useful tools for teachers and for the pupils as well. Now, so far, we had a very good feedback about it. The minute we send it out to schools, they started straight away writing back to us, and you will see on screen in a minute some of the feedback that has been given by the schools with regards to this implementation guide. And we are very proud because it's a very good model, and they can adapt it for any curriculum area. So you can see on the screen, most of these people are senior people from the schools, head teachers from the schools. They said the very words that you see in front of you. Just give you 1 second to have a very quick read through. And then we have only 1 more slide to go. But this is just basically, you can see how appreciative schools are of the support they're getting from us. So as next steps and moving forward with all the things that are happening with regards to the implementation of the curriculum, we want to continue with another audit to see later on in the year what's happening with the implementation. So they will have different audit, probably similar to what they've got, but maybe this time we need to capture some of the good practice. We will continue also with the, we will know from the schools also about the CPD needs. And right now, with the first audit that we gave to the school, we know who the RE coordinators are. We know their needs, because one of the questions is, do you need any CPD? And then they said yes, so we know that. Also, in meantime, discussions have been taking place with possible training providers, and one of them is RE Today. And they have said to us that they are happy to provide some expert training to our schools, and this will take place very soon, probably starting from April and so on. But the support has been there with advisors, and as I said, Leslie has been there as well to support. We are supporting them in different ways as well. RE network meeting as well will still continue, because there are the professional development opportunities for RE leads, and one is planned next week, and then there will be another one in summer term. And at the end of this year, obviously, we will see what else can be done. Schools receive continuous updates with regards to lesson plans on Google Drive and e-Grid for Learning. And we've got a dedicated RE page where all the documentations are being put. So we will continue to update that as much as possible, so schools will feel supported. And just before I go finish off, I want to thank you for all the words, very, very good words you said earlier on. I couldn't even thank you. I couldn't speak because I was blocked. I was just kind of frozen my computer. So thank you very much for appreciating everything we do, as we do appreciate your support and your contribution to this. So that's it, me done. If you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you, Mirala. Thank you so much. The great work you are doing, and you have done it. Is there any question and or any comments from members?
Chair, I want to ask.
Yes, Mahendra.
Myself is Councillor Mahinder Midha. She gave briefing very nicely. My question is that why are the different schools, they start curriculum different times?
Well, this is you would appreciate that this is a very good, very new syllabus, and people want to get it right. But we had some hiccups as well with regards to the curriculum timelines because of the COVID. And sometimes it is difficult, you know, when you have a new curriculum to implement that curriculum with the school closures, for example. But what we know is that schools still continue to provide RE, whether it is the old curriculum or the new curriculum. It is important that the children are not missing out. Are you happy with my response, or you want me to explain more?
Actually, I'm not happy. This is the answer, because the classes regular, the people, they are starting the new classes regular according to the time, but the religious education should be start like that, the same time.
Right. Okay. Dr. Dave, would you like to contribute something? Elizabeth, yes, please go on.
You're muted.
I can speak. No, first, I think what I want to comment probably also addresses that question, because Mirella's feedback on getting this syllabus going, first when it was still very draft last summer term, and then when schools were there, and then when it was possible in the autumn term, what it strikes me is, as ahead of many years, and in primary schools, 2 different primary schools, is that I really welcome the staggered approach, because good practice for children in something as important as RE and in Ealing with its diversity and also its mobility, quite high mobility. So you've got children coming and going. You've actually got high numbers often of vulnerable children for different reasons, child protection or quite high numbers of SEND. So with all of that, it's really important that the people delivering this really excellent curriculum are supported and have the space to use their expertise to do it well.
Yeah.
And really, this is not at all flattery. I'm not into flattery, but I just was really heartened and gladdened to see the approach and then to hear Mirella's feedback, because it's the only practical way in schools to make sure that children are actually receiving quality religious education, rather than ticking boxes that they started here and they've finished here. So I hope that makes sense, but that's...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say something, Councillor Terry?
Yes,
can I
Paula,
say
go on.
something?
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say, as in every development of the curriculum implementations, these are the steps. People cannot go straight into the new curriculum without knowing, especially when they don't have lesson plans and things like that. So they're trialing. So this is actually, we are very proud of the steps that the schools have been taken so far. The other thing I wanted to say as well, that out of those 33 schools that did not respond to our survey, because there's still time to respond to it, okay, I was rushing it because I wanted to give you some more information. We don't know whether they have started, whether they have started before or not. We are pleased at the moment that schools have shown interest, because I can see that in the questions that they ask me, in the demands for the lesson plans, the demands for training and things like that. So we know that there is a determination, and the schools love the new curriculum. You're absolutely right, Lise, that they love the new syllabus. So obviously they will have some time to implement that curriculum. There is always a transition time. We want it or we don't want it, but that is how it is. So hopefully next time I will give you more news about it.
No, thank you, Mirella. I'm sure Koslamida has got some
Thank
sort
you.
of answer. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you, Mahinda.
Fatima,
Thank you.
can you go on, please? Yeah.
Hello. I just want to comment as a class teacher. So I'm currently on maternity leave, and in September we started rolling it out, and it was staggered and actually very much appreciated. It was slow and steady, and we had enough time to, and this from a class teacher's perspective, enough time to absorb all the information, because there's lots of subject knowledge that we need to learn, and then therefore implement it within our lessons. And secondly, I know that your feedback's been great, but from someone who's I was actually planning year 4 and year 6 RE lessons in September before I went on maternity leave, and it was brilliant. Loved it. And it was it was refreshing actually. So well done, it was lovely. Yeah, I really enjoyed planning them. And when the teachers were teaching it, I just wanted to be in the lesson with them, because it was lovely. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And that proves what I said, that the school's support with this has been also very immense, very impressive, because you all have contributed, but also you support each other. So in a way you support me too, because I'm new to this role as well. So
No. Thank you for your remarks, Fatima. Naif.
Thank you very much, Chair. Very kind of you. First and foremost, Mirella, thank you very much once again. Did a fantastic job. I want to say again that I know because we receive regularly requests, and at the moment online requests for online presentations from primary and secondary schools and GCSE students. I'm mentioning this again, that if you need any assistance or the teachers at the schools require any assistance with regards to delivery on the topics related to Islam, then again we are available. I'm available free of, as you know, the services are free of charge. So count us in and know that we are here if you require any support. And I know, of course, we have given a lot with regards to the content, but still, the teachers always require or want that practical one-to-one questioning. So we are available in order to assist you and the council.
Thank you very much. Would you mind sending me an email so I can, what I need to do when people offer things like this? This is generosity, and absolutely it helps us, it helps the schools, it helps the children at the end. If you can send me an email, I will create if you like, a database of people who have offered to support the schools. And when they approach us, maybe with your permission, we can give your details, obviously, but we can also involve you in festivals of learning, for example, when we celebrate good practice, because that's my next aim, that when people have started using the curriculum, that would be absolutely fantastic. So we could join together and celebrate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our details, my details are, I've already given the details, but I'll email them to you. So you have them as well. And Miss Katie already has them. So I'll give them to you again.
I'm sure Katie will pass your detail now.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yes, Lakshman.
Hi, yes. Yes, first of all, it's fantastic presentation skills that Mirella had there. That's very good. Thank you. I just had a very quick request. I've lost the links to the latest syllabus. If somebody could email that, I don't know whether we are allowed to have access to that, but if somebody could email that out, I'd be very grateful.
Okay.
It's very easily accessible, though. It's very easily accessible. If you go into Google and you say E-Link Read for Learning, and then if you say RE, you can access it. But however, we could forward those to you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lakshman. Emma.
Hiya, I just wanted to echo a few different points. The first one, Elizabeth's point about the quality of RE being more important than the speed at which we roll it out. I think that's really important. I would rather deliver something as a teacher that I was proud of and that I was happy of than just everyone delivers in a rush at the same time. I think that's really important to mention. Secondly, thank you, Mirella. I really like your idea about giving a survey to schools, because I feel as a secondary RE leader that sometimes schools don't always attend meetings. They might have parents' evenings and things like that. So actually sending out a survey just to hear their progress and hear how they're getting on with everything would be a really useful idea to take on board. So thank you for that. And also just echo what Fatima said about a staggered start being more manageable as a teacher when we've got a lot of things to think about. I think this year's been really challenging because of COVID. And a lot of teachers, most of their time have actually been focused on things like the mental health of children, checking in on them, making sure that they're okay, making sure they can access the internet, that they have enough mobile data, that the Wi-Fi is working. There's so many different things to think about that sadly, in comparison to previous years, perhaps the syllabus will be slightly slower in being rolled out. And that's not to say that it won't be rolled out, it will just take that little bit of time to perfect it. And linking to that, as a secondary school teacher, you also have to think about the other year groups as well. So we've mentioned primary, thinking about Key Stage 3, that's really important, but also if you're in a department in a school where A-level results have been really suffering, one of my challenges as a teacher would be to try and improve the A-level results, not just to think about Key Stage 3 delivery. There's so many different things to think about. Yes, the syllabus is important, but if you're teaching GCSE classes, A-level classes, there's a lot of things to juggle. And I think it's a massive role, basically, would be what I want to say on that. But my main message being thank you, Mirella, because I think that's a really good idea to actually talk about how far people have got with the syllabus and to get that feedback back from schools. So I'll definitely take that on board for the secondary school meetings as well.
Thank you, Emma, and thank you for agreeing to cooperate, because what I forgot to say to people is that we have the expertise in schools, and I think you have agreed with me to do sometimes to support me, especially, in this with regards to the subject knowledge. And you said that we will do some work together, so that will be part of of our approach to implementing a very strong curriculum. Thank you.
Right. No, thank you, Mirella, once again, and Emma, both the work you have done it. So thanks for your presentation. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. My colleague also Raza just mentioned me to do that. Put your hand together. So that's
Thank
okay.
you.
So, right, if that item has covered, Angela, so who is doing a verbal update from the Teachers Association? Is there any update?
I think we've just had that from, because that's Emma really is our only other person from the Teachers Association.
Okay, all right then. So as we all know that we are working with our constitution renewal. So Angela, could you tell us, sorry, Ms. Lal, this is your, you are clapping. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, Rob. Yeah, Angela, where we are in terms of our constitution renewal.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me? We're kind of running a bit late for time.
Yeah.
But shall I just sort of whiz through the document just to explain to people what we've done? This is not anywhere near as exciting as Morella's stuff on the syllabus, but I can.
If you could do it quickly, that would be really great. Yeah.
I will attempt to. Yeah. So you will all have you. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we said at the last meeting was we needed to have a look at this document, and really, I suppose from my point of view, is to try and make it a little bit more practical and explain who's meant to be doing what and make sure that we've got all the bases covered with it. And ours was a little bit unclear in some areas. So I've worked with Anna Royce from the legal department, and we've gone through this document and kind of reordered it slightly. And I've had a bit of feedback from the thing that we put out last time as well. So thank you to people who did reply to that. And one of the kind of follow-up things after this is to then work with Democratic Services just to make sure how we move forward with some of the practical items to kind of implement this. So I'll put the document up on the screen and I'll go through a few steps, and then if anybody does want to ask anything, I mean, it's probably, you know, not that maybe won't be anyway. I won't prejudge whether there's any questions or not. Right, so previously we didn't have an introduction, and this is just to explain the background behind this and the legal acts that govern the setting up of SACRE. So that's just sort of information, so it probably shouldn't be, you know, that controversial. The second bit here, one of the questions I had was why is collective, we've put the word collective worship back in here because that's the legal term, although as we've heard today that we tend to refer to it as reflection in Ealing, but also the reason it's at the top of the list is because that's where it is in the kind of legal document, so I've just kind of left it there. So this is explaining what are the roles and functions of SACRE. Another little bit that we've added in here is explaining about the setting up of the agreed syllabus, and one of the things and how that actually has to happen, and that was one of the things we didn't have written in our constitution before, so that's been included in there. And I've just updated, we had a kind of massive list of where the annual report had to go to, so I've just simplified it to these smaller groups. And there, so I don't know if there's any points or any questions anybody wants to have. I can't see anybody's hand or anything, so
okay. Yeah, so that's the draft version, and it has to be more modified. Yeah,
so that's the first bit. Shall I just carry on, Councillor? Yeah. Okay, so then the next part we have amended it slightly to give a little bit more detail about the types of membership. And one of the big things that we have to sort out is about appointing all of our members. So the word authority during this means the local authority, and we should have a formal recognition of members by the local authority, either at cabinet or some other meeting. So that's something we have to sort out going forward. So we've never done that. We've only ever formalized the local authority group, Group D, but we really need everybody else, because as we go forward, if you wanted to take somebody off SACRE, if you've never officially put them on SACRE, then it's a bit like a governing body where you need to you know, they need to be admitted to the governing body to take them off the governing body, if you see what I mean. So that's so those are the groups. So we've just made it a little bit clearer. In Group A, we've got one of the things I wanted to stress in here was that we would always have representation from all of the main religious and non-religious beliefs, the 6 main religions and humanism, because even if they weren't high population numbers in Ealing, because I think it's important that the children in the syllabus get that coverage, and also this group has the coverage of what might be quite minority religions in Ealing, but we need to make sure that we have the voices of everybody on SACRE. So that was one of the principles of just including that wording in there. Yeah, and this was then about removing people. So this is, you know, I don't know whether it's ever happened in Ealing, hopefully not, but that's something that needed to be in there. So I don't know if anybody's got any questions on that. One of the things around the membership is trying to get a little bit more information about the role of the trade unions, and I have emailed them and asked them about that, so they're going to come back to me if they have any advice about their expectations of the members and how they do that representation. We've simplified the thing about the deputies. There was something very confusing in there before, but this is basically saying that if you can have a named deputy, so if you can't come, you can send somebody else, and that would count as you being present, which I think is quite important when we come to look at attendance and vacancies. Co-opted members, we haven't really used this, but sometimes SACREs do projects and they need additional people with more expertise in certain areas, so it gives a little bit more information on that, and we might like to think about that. This thing is about the terms of office, and I've put it's for 4 years. I know some people have been on SACRE for a long time, and it's a bit like governors, where you can keep getting renewed, but the one thing we need to sort out is this appointment of the members, and that's something I'll follow up with Democratic Services. And then one of the things I wanted to point out in this end of membership, makes it a bit clearer, but point D on non-attendance, because we do have some people who just haven't attended for a long time, and this says basically that if you don't attend for 3 meetings without a good reason, then you can deem not to be part of SACRE and be taken off and replaced with somebody else who will attend the meetings, because the main point is to obviously to participate and to contribute to the whole you know, endeavour that SACRE is undertaking. And so I think that's one of the things going forward that we would look to enforce and follow up. But again, it's one of the areas where the responsibility for following up on non-attendance and vacancies is being a little bit unclear. So we're hoping to sort that out. And this is where, so this moves on then into vacancies. And in fact, we have a good example in today where and we'll come on to it in membership, but we followed up on a non-attending member who then referred us to their representative body, which was the Ealing Liberal Synagogue. And we now, through following up on the process, we have Megan who's joined us today. So I think there is a process that we need to put in place to make sure that we keep up our membership and cover our vacancies. Clarified in number 9 that the chair is a member of Group D. It did say a member of the council, but the council in this context means SACRE, and the authority is the council, rather confusingly. So that just clarifies that. And it says a little bit about the responsibilities, and then this here about the different responsibilities, because it's trying to just make sure that if this is handed over to someone else at any point in time, they will know what they're supposed to be doing. I think that's quite important, because it's been a little bit unclear as to who's been doing what. All the stuff about the voting and the quorum and all of that is not really changed. One of the things we took out was submitting to the minutes to the cabinet, because I don't think it ever happened, and they're kind of public minutes anyway, so we didn't think that needed to be included. And we've got the review of the Constitution paragraph at the end to say every 4 years we would look at it just to check whether it needed changing or not. And then just the other thing I wanted to point out, we've got the members, and we'll come on to, it sort of moves into the next item, which is around membership, but we have at the moment 40 members, which is quite a high number of members, and we, you know, much bigger than a lot of SACREs, and yet we probably have about 12 vacancies at the moment. So it's just really whether, you know, whether that needs looking at in any way. In terms of the teachers associations, I've updated the list to have the latest names of the unions, and also added the Ealing Learning Partnership, because this is about representing associations of teachers, and not everybody is a representative of a union, but they might be representing just the partnership of secondary or primary teachers within Ealing. Yeah, so that's that. And there was just another bit in there where we've updated and put the word collective worship back in again. So that's the update.
Angela, it's a very good update. I must include that the 2 points you raised, that the one is to all members of SACRE could be authorized by cabinet or from the local authorities, a good idea. And the Constitution should be revised every 4 years and approved from the Council and Cabinet. That's the good practice as well. So, Councillor Ball, is it the question you want to? Okay, go on.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So there are some discrepancies between what's proposed here and the way that the process works for council committees, and at the moment the councillor members of SACRE are appointed in the same process as other council committees, which is it happens at annual council rather than at cabinet, and then there are also different processes for substituting members and so on. So I wonder if there's a bit of work being done that might need to be done to just check how that interrelationship happens. It's sort of, yeah,
sure.
Some of the places it says cabinet, it should say full council, and a few other.
Yeah. That's the meeting that hasn't taken place yet with Democratic Services to get those, because I don't understand all of those processes. So I've had the kind of legal meeting around the content, but it is absolutely that point about which meeting and how this is done and who should do it, because this came to light really when we set up the agreed syllabus conference, because it had never been really clarified as to how it should have been done and where it goes to. So it's just trying to include that. So it probably is, there's probably things incorrect in there that need to be sorted out. So Councillor Ball, so that's being put in the diary. Katie's getting a date for that for me to follow up.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for update, Angela, and thanks for Councillor Ball. Well spotted. That's point well, we are very much pressing on time, but Oliver, go on.
Chair,
please.
can I ask one thing?
Yeah, let ask Oliver first, and then you.
All right. Okay.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say, Angela, I think it's an excellent tidy up of this document. It's a lot more comprehensible. So well done. I have a few extra points, and I think it's probably best if I email them to you. Is that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Well, yeah, Councillor Bidda.
I want to say, Angela, the briefing is very nice. I love her idea. The people are the member. They are not attending the meeting from long time, so we should give the time for the active members. That's very good idea.
That's right. Thank you for your contribution, Councillor Mehta. If there is no other question, could you please update in the next meeting, Angela, the progress about that Constitution review? Yeah.
Sure. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So, if there is no other question, can we go to the next item, which is a membership update? So, can I just update? Like today, we have got additional 2 members join our SACRE panel, and luckily, coincidentally, Both are very talented local teachers, Fatima and Megan. I would request them if you could say something about their group they represent. That will be really helpful. So Megan, could you go first, please?
All right. I am representing the Ealing Liberal Synagogue because one of our members, I think, used to be on the SACRE, and we were contacted to say that there was a vacancy and who was going to fill it. I was put forward to fill it, obviously, because I am a teacher as well. So I'm on the council of the synagogue and have been for about 5 or 6 years now. And this is my first SACRE meeting. I have been to SACRE meetings actually in other areas as a teacher before, so this is my first one as a religious representative.
Right, thank you, and we welcome you, and I hope we will get benefit from your contribution.
Thank you.
Yeah, Fatima.
Representing the Shia School of Thought, so specifically the Jafri School of Thought. I think, like I said before, I'm a teacher on maternity leave, so it's really nice to be part of this from 2 different angles. The Shia community is ever growing, especially within Ealing, and I saw the vacancy. Actually, I spoke to Angela about it. We had a couple of conversations about the plans that I saw and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to being on board with everyone and yeah, working closely with everyone.
All right. Thank you, Fatma, and I'm sure we will get benefit from your skills and your expertise. So if we are agreed, these 2 nominations, is the group agreed on that?
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Thank you so much. On the second point of the membership update is I'm working closely with my colleague Councillor Aisha Raza and Councillor Mida to get the more community group or faith group forward. So I have contacted the Sri Guru Sabha Gurdwara and the other faith group, and I'm waiting for their confirmation. So we have got how many vacancies, Angela? 10?
We have 10 vacancies now. So we've covered 2 of them with the appointment of Fatima and Megan. And then I've also spoken to Mark. He might want to say something briefly, Mark Newton, just about the Church of England members, because we have 4. We have 6 members, so we've got 4 vacancies at the moment. So I had a brief meeting with Mark.
Yes, Angela, we had a chat, didn't we? And just to update you, Angela, I've had a conversation with a couple of schools, and there's a third one that I'd like to speak to. But the 2 I've spoken to already are investigating, trying to find a couple of additional people to potentially join our Church of England group. I think it was, wasn't it, Angela?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So the head teachers I've spoken to sound very positive about being able to find someone. So both those schools might be able to contribute a person each, if possible.
Great, that's lovely. Thank you. And I've also contacted the Church of England Twyford Trust, and they are going to, when I send some more information through, will send that out to their contacts within the trust as well to fill those Church of England vacancies. So the other vacancies we have are the African Caribbean Church, Hindu, a Sunni Islam. I think Councillor Mahmood has mentioned the Sri Guru Ravidasya Sabha that is being contacted, and there is the Ramgarhia Sabha. We have a vacancy there as well, and also Teachers Association member as well. So well, we have somebody who hasn't attended for a long time and we have no contact details. So I think if with everybody's permission, we should probably treat that as a vacancy and try and fill that with another teacher.
Yeah, okay. Any question on membership? If not, I think we will bring this item at Angela in the next meeting as well and see what progress we have. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if there is no other question, I will go to the last item, which is national update of national SACRE, which is Leslie.
Thanks. The SACRE has not produced a fresh briefing recently, so I created my own, which is in your agenda pack. So I'm just sharing my screen to show you the key points. So SACRE is upgrading its website, wants to include an opportunity for all SACREs to showcase the documents that they're producing, their agreed syllabus and other items. So that will be good for Ealing, as we have a whole suite of materials to share. We're looking at drawing up an agreed template for SACRE annual report, so that will make an annual analysis of those more possible, so that we can share exemplars of good practice and also put a spotlight on any SACREs which might be struggling to fulfill their legal obligations and the reasons for that. SACRE is working with another RE professional organisation to draw up a document on collective worship, and with the permission of our collective worship group here on this SACRE, I've shared that document, and I think some of it will now be appearing at national level. So well done, Ealing, for taking a really strong lead on that area. We're going to hear in a moment from Liz Day about the last SACRE general meeting, which was online, and we're still discussing what to do about the one for this year, but I think it is likely to be online, so we need to identify someone to represent this SACRE at that event. Angela's just spoken about membership, and she knows that the SACRE executive is looking more broadly at drawing up a list of organisations at national level which help to find SACRE members, for particularly but not exclusively faith groups, and also to provide advice about which local groups might be suitable. And we've talked about that in Ealing before, about how some nominating bodies are at national level and others are more local. And that's all I would want to say on that. But there is one other thing I just would like to share with you. So if you just bear with me a moment, I'll switch screens. My PowerPoints are not as glamorous as Mirella's, but I wanted to draw your attention to this document. Just in the last few weeks, an organisation called Insight UK, which, as you might be able to see, is the voice of British Hindus and Indians in the UK, obviously, has produced a document looking at Hinduism in RE in UK schools. So I've put the link here, and if we can include that in the minutes, that would be really helpful, because I think people would benefit from reading this report. Hindu groups have done a survey among Hindu parents in the UK about teaching and learning in relation to Hinduism in schools in this country. And we have to bear in mind that after Christianity and Islam, Hinduism is the third largest religion in the UK, and obviously, as we know, has a significant presence in Ealing. Sadly, the report didn't have very positive findings. while, as you might expect, Hindu families believe it's of vital importance for their children to learn about Hinduism, the vast majority of them do not think that Hinduism, as it's delivered as part of the RE curriculum in schools, is of a very high quality. And they also feel that it's not always presented in a positive light. So as you can see from some of the data on this slide, they're very dissatisfied or somewhat dissatisfied with teaching about Hinduism in schools. Primary and indeed actually secondary parents of Hindu children are often unhappy about the lack of knowledge that they perceive RE teachers to have in relation to Hinduism. And there is growing concern about what they perceive to be inaccurate resources being used in classrooms. So this is a national picture, and I'm not saying for a moment this is reflected at local level in Ealing. It may or may not be. I would imagine if Hinduism is taught well anywhere, that would be in a borough like this one. But I think it's just essential for us to be mindful of that bigger picture. What's really positive, though, is that as a result of these findings, the Hindu community is proposing to set up something that they're calling a Hindu Education Board. And that is going to have a multiplicity of different functions, one of which is to find Hindu members for SACREs and to support them in their role with training and so on. And they want to work with the National Association of SACREs to do that. And they're also looking to provide what they perceive to be much better resources than the ones that currently exist. So this is all encouraging. So although the findings of the report are perhaps quite negative, what they're doing is kickstarting, various initiatives to really promote higher quality teaching and learning about Hinduism and to ensure that teachers are properly equipped to do that with the right resources behind them. So I thought, we should know about that. And as I say, if you want to read the whole report, it's very lengthy, but there is a brief executive summary. And I would urge all SACRE members, whether you're Hindu or not, to look at that, because it's part of SACRE's job to ensure that all of the traditions in the syllabus are taught well and accurately and so on. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Leslie, it's very interesting, Leslie. I must say that, and it's very surprising for me as well. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stop the share. So I think that's all I wanted to say about national initiatives. Locally, as you know, Morella is leading the way on the networks. And she very kindly said, I do try and advise and support where and when I can. And one of the things I do is produce a newsletter for schools, which is now going out every half term instead of every term. And today I was in a meeting where I've got lots of wonderful material to go in the next one. So that will be issued shortly. And I usually circulate that to SACRE clerks and others so that if they feel it's appropriate, SACRE members can see that and kind of find out the sorts of support links that are going out to schools. So that's all I wanted to say. So I don't know if it's Liz's turn now to speak just briefly about the SACRE
EGM,
EGM that she attended online.
Elizabeth, do you have any update on that?
I do, yeah. I left a short report. You'll find that in your papers, but I'm not going to bring it up on screen. I'm just going to say 3 brief points about what was just a summary of a very good online meeting in 2 parts. The first part, the EGM, and the second part for an hour, 2 presentations from 2 different schools. So I think the main thing that came out of it was, for me, and I think for Ealing SACRE, is this that was emphasised about the difference between a school that is graded inadequate when they are inspected and a school that has good provision is where there is a well thought out curriculum. And I thought that Ealing more than ticks the box on that. The other thing that I would reflect on is that when I actually attended the National SACRE meeting in May 19, first time I'd ever done that, it was coming up there two things really. One was about the need for quality CPD, continuing professional development for teachers, and the need to separate RE and PSHE. That's were two things that were coming up there needed to be. And I thought, again, that the syllabus that Ealing has produced is a way to do that. And the second thing about CPD, if we saw what Morella is forging with, I can see that as it rolls out over the years, then good practice will be identified and there will be a sharing of that. And with Leslie's input, as you're on the executive of National SACRE, so Ealing again is very well placed on a knowledge base and for getting a gauge of what is quality professional development. Finally, I would just really encourage that with this good practice that I see going on in Ealing SACRE in schools and the enthusiasm amongst teachers that's coming through at these SACREs, both in the determinations and in people who've spoken tonight, the two schools, one was from Cumbria and their project they'd done with children was called Buried Treasure, and the one from Lambeth, so two very different schools, was one on called Faith Trails. And there were two inquiry-based projects based on their syllabus. So in a way, it was bringing their particular syllabus for their local authority to life. And they had applied and got funding from the West Hill project. I don't know, Leslie may know more about this than me. It was possibly £4,000 or £5,000. Now, the deadline for that is at the end of March every year. And I would really encourage, just to drop the thought, that Ealing could maybe encourage some schools to go for a project to, to show good practice with children, but to apply for, say, March 22, because they were absolutely excellent projects, but certainly nothing that Ealing, couldn't do, and they were really good and brought it to life. Yeah.
True. Thank you, Elizabeth. Any question or any remarks on that report?
The report is very good, but time is 9 o'clock.
Yes. I know, Kosamida, but I promise you we will be finishing in a couple of minutes' time. So, right. Okay. So it's a very interesting report, and I hope we will continue, Leslie, this discussion about the Hindu groups report as well, which is very interesting, and we need to see what we are doing in terms of our borough. So thanks. Sorry.
I too am very conscious of the time, but I just wonder if we, as a SACRE, you wish to send a delegate to the next meeting. It's the 24th of May, so that will be before the meeting of this SACRE in the summer. So we either identify someone now, or our clerk sends a message to people and asks if anyone would be willing to attend on Ealing's behalf. It will be an online event, I think, and there will be a cost implication because putting on a large scale online event does have some costs attached to it. It can't be entirely free, I'm afraid. But of course, there are no travel costs if you're accessing it from your own home. So maybe the clerk could identify someone who would be willing to attend. Liz has spoken very positively about the last event, so that might be an encouragement.
I think I would suggest before we go to Ms. Lal, yeah, could you contribute before me? Go on.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that I'd very much appreciate if I could go and attend.
Okay. Anyone else is interested? In this case, I think if I will support, and I'm sure the panel, if there is no one else is coming forward, so I would say we should go for Ms. Lal.
Thank you very much, Chair and panel.
Right. Okay. Anything else we need to cover, Angela?
No, I think we're done.
Yeah, okay. In this case, in last meeting, I did not promise you, but I hope we will be meeting physically on the cup of tea, but it wouldn't happen. I'm sorry about that. But the next meeting is on Tuesday, 8th of June. And I am hoping we will be meeting physically, and we would be meeting each other
Face to face.
But there is a light we can see after the tunnel. We can see vaccine is out, so we are just hoping for the best. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your contribution this evening. I much appreciate it, and I wish you all the best for today and for the coming time, and hope we will be out of this difficult time. And so the next meeting will be 8th of June, on Tuesday, 8th of June. And before that, Katie will in touch with you. Katie, would you please circulate about the nomination of Ms. Lal, and then we will see from there. Okay. So
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Good night.